Hey guys, welcome back to Dueling Destination. Today I have another update to my Orcust deck profile, but this time it's with a little twist, as I'm gonna be getting to you guys the actual prices for the cards so you can see the total cost of my main deck and extra deck. Just to let you guys know, the prices on the cards are not final. When I was doing this deck profile and I checked the prices, that was the prices that I found online. So it will be changing just depending on the format. So I would recommend you guys to see if you can get some of these cards. Most of these cards you can be getting them off trades at locals and with other people. You don't need to be buying them online, but you can get them in trades. So let's start off. First of all, we're going to start off with the monsters. And please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can know when I post up new videos. I have different plans for different videos, so just look out for those. I know I've been flooding my page with Orcust deck profiles, but that's the deck I've been using right now. Look out for the zombie deck profile coming soon as well. And also a little bit more changes. So remember to support the channel and subscribe. We've been growing strong and I've been loving it. I've been loving the support, guys. So let's start off. We're going to start off with 2 copies of World 1. Somewhere on the screen, the prices are going to be shown and the total. And this guy is a staple in this deck. As you guys know, this guy is very important for the combos. And I would recommend you guys to pick these up. They're very cheap. So you can use them always in other decks as well. So that's for the World 1. And now for the actual Orcust. We're using 2 Harp Horror. I've been doing a few changes on the deck and it's been working out. I'll be using these at locals tomorrow. I'll let you guys know how it goes. So I just used 2 Heart Horror on this deck profile and it's been working pretty good. I was thinking of bumping it up, but it works fine. I'm also using 2 of the skeleton. The skeleton's been very strong. I see a lot of people have been using 1, but I'm just still happy using 2. Also, this is going to be a deck profile, but only of the main deck and the extra deck. The side deck, it all depends on your locals or where you want to go play, that you can consider playing that. Also, this is only within the US prices. If you are out of the US and you have to ship cards in any form or way, please consider that the price will change then also. Just be very careful, and my deck profile and the prices I'm giving to you guys is just what I found online in the US. I'm using 2 Orcust Nightmares. This is one of the most important cards in the deck, I believe, but also one of the weakest cards. If you ask this card at the right time, you can stop a lot of the Orcust. So be very careful with this and make sure that you always have a Call by the Grave ready. I'm also still using 2 4-Mud Skipper. You guys might be saying, well, the deck profile hasn't changed. It looks exactly the same. It's kind of almost the same, just with a few adjustments. So I hope that you guys can cope with me until we get to the adjustments on it, as this has been a very competitive deck that I've been building here, and it's very budget. You're going to be seeing the prices on the screen. Now for the new changes, I went with triple copies of the Neospace card, the Warrior card that just came out, and yes, they're super rares, but you can get them in commons as well. Like I said, you can always be getting the lower rarities. You don't have to be getting exactly the same rarities as I have. They still do the same cards, but with these guys here, they give you options so that you can actually out some hand traps because of Neospatial Aqua Dolphin. Aqua Dolphin is actually a kind of expensive card. I'll say like $3-4 for this. I'm not sure the price is gonna be here, but this is very good to play around hand traps, and your opponents are gonna basically need to use your hand traps at this point to try to stop you. If not, you just rip it off their hands. And by sending cards to the graveyard, it helps you as well. I'm still using 2 copies of Silent Boots, as I don't want to be drawing into this and eliminating the combo pieces I need within the deck. So double copies. Still using 1 cloak. The cloak is still giving me a bit more options, I would say. Also, I took some advice that you guys left me on my YouTube channel, and I'm using 1 Phantom Sky Blaster. I would be using more, but I just own 1 personally. I would be getting them more because they're fairly cheap. But for now, I'm using 1, as I don't want to commit a lot to my normal summon, but this is very strong in the deck. I'm still using one Armageddon Knight. Armageddon Knight is still something that a lot of people are gonna want to ash, and if they don't ash it, you just continue your plays and continue building a big board. So that's basically what you want to be doing here. I'm using one Ibli. I believe this is one of the reasons people said my deck profile wasn't budget, because I'm using cards like Ibli and so on. But Ibli is fairly expensive, but when I did get this card, I got it cheap as well. And you can be trading for all of these cards. You don't necessarily need to be buying them. And I'm using triple copies of Ash Blossom, just like the last deck profile. Triple copies has been working pretty good. And Ash Blossom, yes, it's a $10 card. I would suggest to go to your local Target or Walmart and pick up the actual structure deck, and you'll be getting a lot of cards you can use in here as well. So Ash Blossom is kind of expensive. That's for the monster call. For the monster call, we should have roughly about $70.02 within the price range. That's what I spent on the monster call. But remember that this is fairly budget within Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive standards. If you want to build a fun deck, it's going to be way different. But I'm trying to bring to you guys as competitive and budget as I can. So now, let's go to the spell cards. For the spell cards, it's fairly budget, I would say, but I really didn't know some of these prices in the cards, so when I researched them, I really got surprised on it. But here, let's start off. We're going to start with one Foolish Burial. I am using the Secret Rare Foolish Burial, but this has been reprinted as common versions in a lot of structure decks, so you can always get them in there. I'm using one Reinforcement of the Army as well. You can always pick this up in commons. It does the same thing, don't let anyone tell you different. Eroda is Eroda. Now this is one of the cards that surprised me a lot. I honestly picked these guys up when they were $2 and now they're like $5. So triple copies of Call by the Grave. These are kind of expensive, but I understand why, because it is needed within the format so you can continue extending your plays. And there are a lot of people out there with the new hand traps that are coming out reprinted. Look out for Jordan Lockbird. I know it's coming to TCG soon, so look out for that. So you're definitely gonna need these guys. And common copies are like $5. I believe the super should be about 8 or 9, so you can always go supers if you want. But I'm trying to keep it fairly budget here. I'm using triple copies of Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness was one of those cards that surprised me as well on the price. Almost all copies of Allure of Darkness are around the $5 mark. This is pretty surprising for me considering the amount of reprints that these cards have had in the past. And I just was fortunate enough to have some super rares and that I could use in a deck. But if you see anyone with commons as well, they're kind of pricey. So if you can get them in trades for lower value, you should definitely get them. I'm using 2 copies of Twin Twister. Twin Twister is very viable in this format as it's a very heavy back row format. So I'm just using 2 copies. I should be using 3 copies, but it clogs sometimes with me as I just want to clear out 2 copies, 2 cards actually, that my opponent has face down, and that gives me the advantage so I can go all in and just get it over with and win the duel probably. But this card is kind of pricey as well, I'd say. Now for one Orchestrated Bubble. I believe that's how you said the name, I'm not sure, but this card is very underrated. I see a lot of people not playing this card, which I don't understand, because this card gives you interaction within your opponent's turn, and I love doing that because then your opponent has a hard time playing around you, and if they destroy this card, you can always send 1 card to the graveyard, return it back to hand, and you get to plus a lot more doing that. I'm using 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is one of those cards that have been gotten reprinted in the past, so it's fairly cheap. If you want to get a secret rare, I believe it's like $4, but a common copy should be around 30 cents. So look out for that one. A lot of people have this in the trade binders. I'm using 1 of the Phantom Knight Rank Up Magic Launch. This card, I believe, is going to get banned in the ban list soon, but then I also have my doubts because of the new Dark Neostorm support we're getting for Orcust monsters. So until then, I probably will be doing an update or within the ban list, which should be next month in April. It's very close, guys. Let me know if you want to see a ban list prediction from me, and I can try to work on that. But this card, I believe, is going to get banned, because if you ban Azathoth, You still leave this card open, and this guy is very important in the updated deck with Dark Neostorm support. So I believe this is going to be one of the cards that are going to get banned. I'm using one Orchestrated Return. Orchestrated Return is just like another Allure of Darkness for me. But this is quite expensive. I got them when they were $3, I believe. I got them in trades. I got like 4 copies of this card when no one wanted it, and I'm just using one, so it's fairly easy to get. And now for something new that I've been trying in my deck. I don't know if it's gonna work as I want it to work, but I just like the idea of it, and that's Mass Change 2. With Mass Change 2, it gives me a big body like Dark Law on field, and who doesn't love having elemental heroes in their deck? And it's a dark deck, so this helps me a lot to go into something big, especially when I need to discard because of this card, and it helps a lot. This is something I picked up and I'm using in my personal build. Now for the trap cards. The trap cards are just a few trap cards, and I was surprised on the prices of these cards because these were cents. One of them actually was cents when I picked it up. No one wanted it, and that's this one here. The Phantom Knight of Shade Brigandine. This guy has only 2 printings, a comment and a gold rare. A lot of people don't like the gold rare, but basically you're going to be paying $5 for almost any rarity of this card because it is used within the format. And it has been used within past formats as well, in the Goki format. And this is one of the cards I believe you should be having in your bulk section or in your private collection, because I try to keep cards that I think are going to be good later on in the format. And sometimes I get the prices down when they're cheap, and later on they become super expensive, but I still have access to it. So if you guys want to see a video on that also, let me know and I can show you cards that I think are going to be good later on in the format. And I'm using only 1 copy of the Fireblade. Fireblade is good to give you a negate, but also you gotta make sure you're gonna clear this card. You gotta make sure that you can clear this card. So by having this card on the field, sometimes it does stop you, but in most cases you can get over it. So I'm just using 1 copy for now. Now let's go into the extra deck. The extra deck was something that surprised me, and I'll be probably giving you the total on the screen as I've been switching from spells and traps. And at the end of the video, I'll probably just be giving you the grand total, which isn't much as a lot of people thought. So let's go into the extra deck. In the extra deck, I'm using 1 Dark Law. This is just for the mass change, and I think it's a very powerful monster. The effect is great, and people search a lot. So this gives you a way to play around the format right now, especially on the dependent graveyards deck styles that they have right now, the plays that they have. You do need one of these, I believe, in the Orcust deck. So I'll let you guys know how this does this weekend, okay? I'm using one of the Link 4 orchestration. I haven't been using the effect much. Sometimes I just want a big body and I need to go into a Link 4, and this guy's pretty easy to go into with the deck. But the price has been rising. I remember seeing this card when it was just $1. Now it's about $2.50. You gotta look out for this card, guys. Remember, Dark Neostorm is gonna be bringing new support, and we never know what can come in that. I'm using 1 copy of Time Thief Redoer yet, and this card has been doing miracles. You can always play around with it, and by getting cards, sometimes they're gonna stop your rank of magic, and you can still use Time Thief Redoer's effect on the standby if they don't destroy the monster. I'm using 1 Azathoth. A lot of people saying Azathoth's gonna get banned on the new ban list in April, but I don't think so. I think it's more the spell card, because the spell card is still gonna be viable next turn. If you, next format. If you ban Azathoth, you're still leaving the spell card out on the field, which is gonna be very powerful when Dark Neostorm comes by. 1 Bomber Dragon. Bomber Dragon is one of the main reasons I use the Orcust field spell card, because this guy gives me a lot of interaction during my opponent's turn, and being able to clear the field so many times, my opponent rarely has the time to get over this card. And the effect when it attacks also is amazing. Sometimes that's all you need to win the game. I'm using 1 copy of Deco Talker. Deco Talker has had many versions printed out on it, and I'm using, I believe, the highest rarity here, but I pulled it in my OTS pack, so that's why I consider it budget. But you can also get this for like $1. There's so many reprints on it. My personal deck profile might not be as budget as I would want it to be, but you guys can get it for almost less value than what I got it for. I got most of my cards through trades and by pulling them in packs. One Trisbania. Trisbania is an interesting card because when I first got Trisbania, I believe this was about $6. Yes, it was still kind of high in price, but I did use my cards I traded, so the value was about $6, but now it's probably about a $10 card. I think this is great in this back row heavy format, so I think this is a great card to have in any deck. One of the Link 3 for the Orcust monsters, this guy is very cheap. This is like 25 cents, but don't get it mistaken. Like I said, Dark Neostorm is coming. These guys can easily go up in price to be at least $1.50 card. One Galatea. Galatea is still in the budget side. I'd say the cheaper version of the whole extra deck that I'd say if you have some of these laying around, keep a playset. It might come in handy later on in the future. Now, this is We Wish Apprentice. The Apprentice card, which I rarely got any of. I got maybe 2 of them. But this card is valued around $2. So if you have any of these cards laying around, you have like a $2 card in your binder. Summon Sorcerer. Summon Sorcerer is a very interesting card because a lot of people say it's not budget, but really this card is like $2. It just got a reprint in Soul Fusion. If you want to use the Jump promo, then you're going to be paying more. I know I have the Jump promo, but I'm subscribed to the Jump promo and I got it through that way. But if not, you can always use the Summon Sorcerer in the Super Rare. Does the same thing. I'm using one of the Phantom Knight Link Monster. This guy is a staple in this deck because as a top play, a lot of people look out for it, and I think it's something that's very powerful and people should be aware that this is a competitive deck. Now I'm using one copy of Nightmare Phoenix as I need Nightmare cards in the extra deck so I can go into Nightmare Mermaid. But amazingly, Nightmare Phoenix is about a $5 card right now. I didn't know. I traded this a while ago for like $2. I wasn't sure about it and I didn't want to check. So don't let that happen to you guys. Double check on it and you might be able to get the price on it. But for $5, a Phoenix card coming off Flames of Destruction. Coming off Flames of Destruction, you're going to look out for that. I'm using one Nightmare Mermaid. Nightmare Mermaid is one of the most important cards in the deck because this is one of your go-to plays. So you can continue going off into your plays, into Azathoth, and having a lot of field control. So Mermaid is at 1 right now for me. Now this card is, I believe, the most expensive card in the extra deck. If not, the extra deck would be fairly cheap. But I got this guy in trade like long ago when it just came out. And this is now ranking about $30. Even though it got its reprint, it's still floating around in the same price. So I would recommend you guys, if you're getting this, get the first edition. That's going to hold more value for you guys than the reprint. So guys, that's the deck profile. And I'll be having the total price for you guys on the screen, which I believe should be roughly about $198.75. So we're looking at a $200 Orcust deck profile compared to some of that $700, $800 that some people are saying that Salamangreats are budget. But for Salamangreats, you gotta understand that you need some of the most expensive cards like Impermanence, and also you're gonna need the Maxi looking type of card. I can't remember the Fantastic Dragon. You're gonna also need the Fantastic Dragon, I believe the name is. It's like Maxi basically, but it's just once. I think that card is too overrated. It is powerful, but there's no comparison to Maxi. That card gives you maybe 2 cards and fixes your hand a bit, but Maxi stops play, so don't get it confused. So guys, that's my deck profile. That's the deck I'll be using. If you want to duel online, you can always contact me. We can always do some YGO Pro online. Remember to like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know what you think about this budget deck profile. That's $200 budget. other YouTubers are gonna tell you that they can build a deck under $150, but just skim through it and you guys won't know which cards to get. I got all the prices for you guys and I hope that helps you. Remember that you can always get these prices lower in trade value, or sometimes the prices might even go up as the format develops even more because they can be buyout. So the prices I got at the time was when I was doing this video, so the prices might change. Don't hold me accountable for it. So I hope you guys like this. I'll try to bring different type of ideas to you guys on what I want to see, like some maybe my trade binder, some cards that look out for trades, and so I can continue building this channel. And thanks for supporting, guys. See you next time.